Om Sri Lakshmi Narasimhaya Namaha. Valmiki Ramayana, Aranya Kanda, Chapter 51. Ravana kills Jatayu. Summary. The combat of Jatayu and Ravana ensues now. As Ravana was adamantine to the righteous sermons of Jatayu. In combating with Ravana, Jatayu shatters Ravana's bows, arrows, and chariots and kills the mules of the chariot and plucks off the head of the charioteer with his beak. Further, Jatayu attacks on the body of Ravana, lacerating severely. Enraged at the bird's heads, Ravana severes that eagle's wings, feet, and sides. Then, seeing that fallen eagle, Seetha weeps over as if Jatayu is her own relative. Chapter 51 in detail. When Ravana is spoken to by Jatayu with judicious words, Ravana's eyes reddened infuriately, and his burnished golden ear knobs flickered injuriously, and that lord of demons dashed towards the lord of birds in torrentry, as with two gigantic clouds upheaved by the tornadic gusts will be hard hitting each other tempestuously in sky. The combat between those two, Ravana and Jatayu, became tempestuous in the sky, as with a startling combat between two gigantic and winged mountains called Mount Malyavanta. That combat between the eagle and demon then became a startling one. Then the great mighty Ravana incessantly stormed the lord of eagles Jatayu with arrows that have excruciating and highly dreadful arrowheads, like tubular arrows, iron arrows, and with arrows that have crescentic arrowheads. That eagle Jatayu, who is the lord of winged chariots, namely birds, in turn sustained those arrows of Ravana's arrows in the combat. But that great mighty Jatayu severally made gashes on the body of Ravana with his 2 feet that have gashing claws, for the bird is with the best stamina. Now the decahedral demon Ravana infuriately took up 10 deadly arrows that are similar in their shine to the shafts of the Terminator, wishful of the elimination of his enemy. That highly energetic Ravana released and impaled the eagle with straight shooting arrows on full, stretching the bowstring up to his ear, whose steel pointed arrowheads are sharp, hurtful, and deadly. That Jatayu, on seeing teary eyed Janaki in the chariot of the demons, forcefully lunged towards the demon, heedless of arrows that are lunging at him. That unexcelled bird of high refulgence then shattered Ravana's bow, which is decorated with pearls and gemstones, and on which an arrow is admitted targeting the eagle, just by the pair of his bare feet. Ravana convulsed in anger, then took up another bow and stormed hundreds and thousands of arrows storms. Nested in the arrows shot by Ravana, that lording bird Jatayu then shone forth in that combat like a bird that obtains a ready-made nest. On winnowing those array of arrows with both of his wings, he, that highly refluent Jatayu, shattered the mighty bow of Ravana with both of his feet. That highly resplendent lord of birds also blasted off the armor of Ravana, which is glowing and flame-like in its flare, with both of its feet. Mighty Jatayu also knocked off the ghost-faced mules yoked to the chariot of Ravana, which are covered in golden armors and attentive in fastness. Then the great charioteer, which is flourishing with 3 bamboos from chassis to yoke, and which traverses just by its steersman's wish, and which is crafted fantastically with gem-studded body and stairs, or whose wheels are crafted with gold and gemstones, and which in its flare is like ritual fire. Jatayu splintered down even the chariot of Ravana. Jatayu swiftly collapsed the parasol of Ravana, which in shine is mirroring the full moon, along with regalia of white royal fur fans, together with the demons handling them for fanning Ravana. Again, That highly energetic and imposing king of birds pecked off the robust head of the charioteer of Ravana with beak. Now Ravana, who is, with his devastated bow, devoid of chariot, dispatched are his horses, and departed is his charioteer. And such as he is, he on grabbing Vaidehi by her torso or placing her on the lower end of his torso jumped to earth. On seeing Ravana, who is foundered onto earth from his crumbled vehicles, all beings like Shailvan deities, Karanas, Siddhas, and such like reverenced that lordly eagle Jatayu. But on seeing the commandant of birds, Jatayu is fatigued owing to his sentences. Ravana is gladdened and he again rose up to skies, taking Maithili. The highly resplendent king of eagles Jatayu swiftly rose to sky, dashing practically to forestall Ravana, which demon's assault devices are all demolished by now, save for a single sword, but who is cheerful to spirit away the daughter of Janaka, and actually spiriting away, holding her onto his flank. And Jatayu spoke this to such Ravana: You mean-minded Ravana, you abduct her whose husband wields arrows that touch off like the thunderbolt of Indra, and this spite of yours is definitely for the destruction of all the demons. As one thirsty drink water, you drink venomous drink along with your friends, relatives, ministers, army, and with your accomplice. And this abduction of Seetha itself is squirreling away dangerous poison. As with the mindless adventures, quickly getting ruination, for they undertake self-ruinous exploits, unknowing the backlashes thereof. So also you too will ruin that quickly with this mindless adventure. You are fastened for termination with the lasso of the terminator, as with a fish that can go nowhere on its biting fish hook with a piece of flesh. How do you free yourself from that lasso of the terminator, even if you go anywhere? But O Ravana, the unassailable Raghavas of Kakaushta dynasty will nevermore condone your asslaying this hermitage. Let a dastard, you are committing a crime of thieving Seetha when none at home in the footsteps of thieves. This thieving is contemptible to society and condemnable by valiant ones. Stay for a moment, O Ravana. If you are valiant enough, you can combat with Rama, who will return right away, and at his hands you will be slain and sprawling on earth in the same way as Khara sprawled earlier. A person undertakes such an unrighteous and fateful activity if only death looms large on him. You too have undertaken this unrighteous fateful activity only for your self-ruination. If sin is consequential to any activity, who will undertake it? Even if that person vies with the self-born God and Lord of the universe, namely Brahma, will he undertake it? Thus Jatayu advised Ravana. Even on speaking those words to Ravana, Jatayu found him carrying off Seetha heedlessly. Then the valorous Jatayu descended on the hind side of the decahedral demon Ravana devastatingly. On clasping Ravana with incisive claws, Jatayu lacerated deeply and rampantly as a Mahot, an elephant trainer controller sitting astride on it, will try to control an uncontrollable elephant that is running amok with an incisive god. Weaponed only with his claws, wings, and beaks, Jatayu now only tore the back of Ravana's asunder, applying his beak and claws, but started to tweeze even his hair, his lips becoming intolerantly quivery when Ravana is expirated by that king of eagles repeatedly. That demon staggered on to his right, targeting the hovering eagle at his hind side to fell it down. Ravana, who is aggrieved and convulsed in fury, hit back Jatayu with his palm while firmly clutching Vaidehi on his left flank. Jatayu, the lord of birds, being a vanquisher of enemies, outstripped Ravana and ripped off 10 left arms of Ravana with his beak, with which left arms Ravana is clutching Vaidehi in order to release her from his clutches. Though his arms are mutilated, thus they instantaneously ricocheted from his body like snakes possessing a series of venomous blazes sprawling out from a snake pit. The valorous decahedron Ravana then threw off Seetha, and out of fury he scuffled with the king of eagles with fisticuffs and kicks by both his feet and fists. Then there chanced an encounter for some time between those two valorous one with mutually overweighting capabilities, namely the chieftain of demons and the chief of the birds. Ravana, brandishing his sword at Jatayu, who is revolting for the sake of Rama, heaved off both his wings, sides, and feet. When the demon of cruel actions has ruptured his wings, that colossal eagle Jatayu immediately fell down to earth with a lessened life. On seeing Jatayu fallen on earth and dampened with blood, Vaidehi fell into a fit of weeping and ran towards him as if he is her own relative. Ravana, the monarch of Lanka, gazed at that worthy, valorous Jatayu, who is, in his shine, is like a blue-black cloud with a whitely white chest, and who by now is like a quiescent firestorm flattened onto ground. But then Seetha, the daughter of Janaka, whose face, wise with the moonshine, hugged eagle Jatayu, whom Ravana has subjugated with his forcefulness, and fell down onto the surface of earth, and she wept over incessantly. Thus, this is the 51st chapter in Aranya Kanda of Valmiki Ramayana, the first epic poem of India. Sri Moola Rama Vijayate. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.